Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van de Sande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I'm honored and excited to share a sacred conversation with Hélène van den Broek, and I welcome you in this sacred space.
Good morning, Kim.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for your invitation.
It's really, it's beautiful, and it's interesting, because you now live in Spain, on a beautiful island, but we come from the same little town in the Netherlands. So it's beautiful how we get to connect with people from all over the world, but we have an extra connection because we're in that way. So I think that's really amazing. So two Dutchies sharing a sacred conversation.
From Bavel.
Bavel, yes. In the southern of the beautiful southern of the Netherlands. So, but I love your story because now you host retreats and you guide people also with human design. But I'm curious, what activated you to come on this path? What activated you to start this healing journey, this journey of curiosity and openness to see what is more? Because you have a powerful story of resilience and of.
Yes. Okay. Let's start when I was small and I lived in Bavel.
Yes.
I was a very curious kid, and I was always running around with my horse in the woods and everywhere, and I like to develop myself, and my hobby at that time was also talking to people, communication, and slowly you go to school, you learn a job, and then I worked in dental industry more than 12 years in Breda, and there from that 12 years I was studying 6. And then I was thinking, okay, now I'm here, I've done everything. What's next?
Yeah.
And in that time, it was not really supported by my parents and also not by the company I worked for. So I found out there was a training, and for that training, you need to have a company who helps you a few years to develop yourself, and then I could go to the they call it at that time the high hogeschool, let's say it like
the
that.
higher education. Yeah.
In Utrecht. So I had to quit my job for that and jump into something new, which was of course very, very exciting because I had to travel more, and I didn't know where I was going to, but the journey of developing myself was really, really strong.
Yeah.
So it was a nice company in Den Bosch, other city, and I have been there for 5 years, and then the same story starts again. What next?
Yeah.
And I had a colleague, and she was from the war, from that time Sarajevo, and I was speaking with her always openly about things, and she said, Helen, if it doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger. So, okay. So I jumped into my next adventure and I started my own business.
Amazing. Yeah.
Without any customer in a very small village near close to Breda. And there I worked for 20 years. And then suddenly I got an accident and I could not walk anymore.
Yeah.
I rotated my knee on the dog field. And then you sit 1 month on a chair and then you can reflect on yourself, on what is important for me, what can I do, because my knee was hurt and I would never be the same again, that I can walk all day. So 5 years before that, I already started with the mental coaching training in the Netherlands to help my clients, because there are a lot of people who have fear for the dentist. And I liked it very much. And that was my next step into the coaching world. Yes, from 2019. And then I was thinking, okay, what do you like more? Well, I like to grow my own food. Is it possible in Holland? Yes, of course it's possible, but on a limited space, because you all have all the seasons. Okay, where you don't have much seasons? Well, on Canary Islands. So I left with a caravan, a dog and 2 cats, started traveling, and I ended up in Canary Islands, where I am now. So yeah, that's my story. And here I help other people, especially women. When I do the one-to-one coaching, most of my clients are women, but I also help men. It is not a big big problem. And then I was reflecting on my work and on my journey, and how did it all start?
Yeah.
So I wrote a course about passion at work, actually. What lights you up for people to develop their possibilities, because not always you can see them by yourself.
It is, but I love in your story, like the power of your resilience, and I'm also curious, like, because you've been called to this adventure constantly, feeling like, okay, I'm ready to step into something new, and I've outgrown this, and now I'm ready for this new adventure. But I'm curious, like, the self-development you've done over years, if that also helped you the moment you got your accident and you were not able to walk. Like, did you notice that it helped you in maybe more easily shift your mindset, and maybe more easily, because now you're walking again and you're even doing sometimes hikes and all of that. So did you notice, like, all the preparation work, in a way, that our soul sometimes guides us through, has helped you to
Well, in Holland, doctors told me you are never able to dance salsa. I dance salsa once a week. Long hikes are not possible anymore. I can walk 17 kilometers without any problem. So yes, it learned me, because when I was young, I was always thinking, okay, am I crazy or am I not? But after my mental coaching training, no, I am not crazy. No. It's my inner voice that tells me something.
Yeah.
So after I was 50, I decided not to listen too much to what other people are telling me, but what my inner voice tells me. And now I can count on. It is always honest. It's never wrong.
Yes, so I love that. That is what I like in your story as well. You're constantly breaking free from the boxes, or okay, I need to fit into this, or I need to do this, or this is what is being expected from me but you're constantly broke free from that in many different ways, like with your first job and with your starting your,
Yeah, but that's also because my parents are already jumping out of the boxes. So when you're a kid from that kind of parents, it's more easy.
Yeah, they were already pioneering and being different than most.
Yes. And especially in that times, My father was from 36. So
Wow.
they,
Yes.
yeah, it's very different. They
Yeah.
choose for themselves. And I think we all have a mission in life. And the closer you get to your core, the closer you get to your soul, the better life evolves.
Yeah.
At least,
Everything starts to flow more. Like even when we are in this alignment, even our physical body, our energies, and just the intuition becomes stronger. But the solutions are within ourselves, or
and what is so interesting for me, because I left everything behind in Holland, the different kind of people you meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The people I meet here is a whole lot of different in way of thinking, way of being, and then in Holland. And I found out in Holland when I was there, I live more from my head.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then my Spanish teacher, she always said to me, Helen, you should feel. And then I always went home with that feeling, okay, let's sit down, let's feel. But
Yes.
that is very hard if you live in a society when everything
Yes.
goes from the head, you know?
Yeah. It is, yeah. Don't and also like when I was growing up and my mom and my parents were already a little bit also out of the box and doing things differently, but still there was still this, okay, sometimes don't be too loud. Don't and when you're crying, most parents, and it's also something that naturally happens, but you're trying to nourish your child. But sometimes okay, silence or and we
Yeah,
lose that passion, but also lose the allowing the energy to move because that's the most me. I think a part of my illness came because I suppressed so much of my emotions because instead of just allowing myself to feel angry at a moment or happy or excited, but because then the energy can move and it doesn't get stuck in my body, in my system. Yeah.
yeah, and I see that a lot of times happening in Holland because I had also a lot of other illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
and and they all disappear. I don't use I use nothing. When I have something, I take some honey, or I go to the garden, or I call
Yes.
a friend. You know, I have nothing, so I'm completely not interesting anymore for the industry.
No, I love that.
And
Yeah.
that makes me feel so good. And when
Yeah.
I was ill last 2 weeks, oh, do you have your medication? I said, did you test for COVID? I said, what?
Yeah.
No, of course not. It doesn't make any sense.
No. Yeah.
If I die, I die, and if I stay alive, I stay. I don't. It
Yeah.
doesn't make me scared anymore when
No.
you have the flu. Everybody has a flu. It's like a reset.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
But what you say from keeping small, I always say, the more you keep the ball under the water, the higher it comes up.
Yes, well, it is. Yeah. And at one point, for me as well, I know in my 20s somewhere, I had a burnout and I took out the surface level things. And then my body was good again. So I just went into the old patterns at one point. So a couple of years later, I had a very illness, but that was my soul knocking on the door. Now, in that moment, it didn't feel like that because it was the most dark moment of my life. But now I understand how it awakened me to all that I am now, to this inner calling to honoring my body. And now I love, as you shared as well, our body is giving us a signal. And also when we get ill, most of the time it's already the healing. Like there was something before that was not healthy in our system. And through the illness, our body is working it out. And for me, what always help, I always love to see when in summertime, when you go camping, you're never sick. You're never, but it is because you're walking barefoot on the ground. You're in nature. You're letting go. You're in your body. You're in the moment. You're allowing, and if we can, and I can only imagine living in the Canary Islands, and life is more at ease and more in connection with nature, more, yeah. So I think also that really helps in coming back into, okay, this beautiful vessel that is here to help us instead of against us, or, yeah.
Yeah, and that is also what I tell people, because when I did the retreats, they want the agenda, and always I leave one afternoon free. What are we going to do then?
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yes.
And then sit on a chair and doing nothing feels very, very uncomfortable for many people.
It is. Yeah. It is. But it's the same with this podcast, but also with my one-on-one sessions. It's both of us showing up. And in the showing up, whatever is aligned will happen, instead of, yeah, it's opening up the space from our heart, from love, and being present. That is also what I notice in the journeys I guide. It's like, okay, sometimes people feel like, okay, there are some things that they can listen and all of that. And that's another thing on my to-do list. But no, it's you spending time with yourself. But somehow, just in general life, we hardly do that. But if you follow a program and there is like, okay, you need to be present for that hour, it's in the end you writing in your schedule, okay, this is me time, this is, and I think we forget that sometimes. We're so used to scheduling everything that is outside of us, and but instead of making time for, okay, now I'm just with myself and I'm tuning in and I'm being still. And because I can only imagine you that month when you weren't able to move, sometimes that is the most profound space, because then we're really, for me as well, when I was ill, I was faced with I couldn't do anything, so I was faced with my deepest darkness, but with love, and in that things started to shift. And so
yes, and it always the good shifts come most of the time when you are in the dark, when you were in the dark before, and then you really can appreciate the good things which come on your way.
Yeah, but it always, and I think that's interesting, because this whole pod, we are now at episode 88. But all of these stories share the resilience and share a journey of going through a very deep depths, but then rising beautifully. But I always love that each journey guided them within. It was not an external thing that made them rise, that made them step into the version that they were or they are now. It's the mirror that happened, or the deep soul alignment, or so. I think that's really beautiful. But and I'm also, because you're also doing human design, and I really love, like, how has that helped you, and what do you notice, like, how
Now, to be honest, my Spanish teacher, she didn't understand me at all. And she gave me the present before I left Holland from my human design. She made a reading for me, and she said to me, of course she read everything because she make it, but she said to me, "Oh, Helen, you are living your design."
Yeah.
And I studied human design years before, but not really pointed on me, more about what energy type are you, what is your decision-making strategy, and what is your mission, what is your purpose in life. And that was interesting for me to read. And now sometimes when people ask me, I use the human design in my coaching, the basic things, because it can tell so many things about the talents of someone, and I call it superpowers, what people all have in them, and sometimes they are not even aware.
I love that. Yeah, it is. And it's the confirmation sometimes within, okay, this is why I'm here, and these are my strengths, and these things I get to work with to, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and that I think that is very important.
Yeah.
That people really know what are their talents and what they feel aligned to. And in my training, it's also about doing self-research about the possibilities you have, and watch at yourself without any judgment.
Yeah, that's so important. Yeah. Being open and willing and curious, and I think that's really and the non-judgment part as well, even on our healing journey or on our growth journey. Like, we go through different cycles, but it's only when we're open and compassionate with all that is coming up, we can truly, because it's also a pattern that sometimes comes up, like the judgment of, okay, I'm doing this wrong, or why isn't something working. But I always remind as well, like a seed, just before it comes above the ground, there's the most resistance, and that's in our own growth cycles as well. Like, you're not doing something wrong, it is because you're choosing to grow that certain patterns come up, because they're finally ready to be loved, to be healed, to be shifted. So I think that's beautiful. And what I love about human design, it can be a beautiful entry point into a conversation, but also for the mind to understand a certain part. And then the embodiment comes and the deepening awareness. And just like you said before, I studied it, but then I was being invited to live it, or there's a whole different dimension. There's a shift, because just in general, we can read a lot of books, but it doesn't mean we live the wisdom. No, that happens afterwards, or that, yeah.
Yeah, and it also takes time.
Yeah.
Because many people really want to change, but they don't know how.
Yes.
And if you don't change things, you choose it.
Yeah.
And when you say like that, people really look at you. Yeah, but I'm not choosing this.
Yeah.
Then you
I'm not
get the
choosing. Yes.
then you get the resistance, but that's not a problem, because that opens doors as well.
It is. Yeah. Sometimes we need to feel I'm so done with this pattern, and then the shift comes, or the solution, or new things, or yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they know, but they don't know. Mostly they don't know how.
No. But what has been for you, like, small steps that has helped you to shift out of, okay, because you said most people want to change, but what has really helped you in your journey looking back?
That I am not scared to change things,
Yes. Yeah.
but of course I feel also that resistance.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know. Sometimes it looks the same with me. Sometimes it looks easy from the outside, but it's not. We're all going through our own challenges and our own upgrades and our own growth and our own, yeah. But it's the willingness to follow this inner guidance beyond the fears of the mind. Yeah.
Yes, and the older I get and the more I'm into this process, the calmer I get.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you get a certain inner peace, which is really, really nice for a while till the
Yeah.
next wave comes.
Yes, it is. It's enjoying the moments of silence. No, yeah, it is. Yeah, but that's why I sometimes find it well, especially in the Netherlands. I know in other places on the earth it's different, but here most of the time we have, like, also within my surroundings or my community, there are a lot of families. I'm a young mom. Well, they're 9 and 10, but they're around us. They live a lot of parents with same children with the same age, and that's beautiful because the children get to play together and all of that. But sometimes I love when you see, like, all the different ages living together, because then you have the balance and the already wisdom of the more elders. And I think that's sometimes what we miss in the rush of, okay, in our 20s or in our 30s, or like, yeah, to have the more cross-pollination of different, so that we can support each other, and yeah, that you get to spread that beautiful energy of peace into the rush of a young family. Yes.
It is very funny because we have that kind of families here living in my neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah. And there you can go for soup, and you can join 2 times a week. You can join them.
Yeah.
And I was not there yet because I got the invitation when I got my flu. But that's very interesting because we are all part of a system, even when you live alone. And I really believe we are not on this planet to be alone.
No.
So I think it's very good development.
Yeah.
You have it more in the south than I realized that we have it in Holland.
Yeah. There's more community there and more support, and even in my many travels around the world, people live together and they support each other. In the Netherlands, it's more islands, or it's more, yeah, it's less.
Yeah, I started here to give away plants, and I received plants, and so I built my garden without paying too much money. And yeah, we see it more here, and then they really look surprised. Oh, what? We don't need to pay. We say, no, you give me tea, and I give you strawberry plant or whatever.
Yes.
You know?
I love that.
And,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
helping each other. Yeah.
yes, we did it in the Netherlands as well, and that was also very funny in a WhatsApp group,
Yeah,
just for fun, you know.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that time I was growing blueberries in my garden, but I had 6. And then I put in the WhatsApp group, and then the small kids, the moms come with the small kids to pick the blueberries, and that was really nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah. Yes, please.
Oh no, I want to share, if people want to know more about you and your links, because you share a couple of beautiful links, I will share them below this video and audio, and to follow you on LinkedIn and Facebook I saw, and yeah, and you're starting a beautiful new program. It is in Dutch. I don't know if the program itself will be in Dutch or that people can also join.
Well, the program for now is in Dutch.
Yeah.
And it starts on the 1st of May.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of self-development course with 2 coaching sessions a month from 30 minutes with me. For who is it? To find out what's really gives you passion at your work. Yeah,
I love that. Because it reminds me of, I once read a book, like, I don't know where it was. I think it was it was not Joe Dispenza. Yeah, well, but he said like the honeymoon theory, or like, but when you are in love, the whole world looks beautiful. And doesn't mean the world has changed. No, your inner shift, your body, but even you're more healthy because your self-regenerative system works when you're not in stress, but when you're in love. So I love the passion, because when we're passionate about what we're doing, in so many areas of our lives, that ripples through. So I think that's really, it can already be, if you're searching for something like, okay, what can I do? I feel something needs to shift. What can I do? You can already like find the passion in what you're doing. I think that's a beautiful thing. And for everyone around the world, if they want to work with you, how can they connect, or how can they?
They can write me an email or book a call with me.
Yes, the link was also, I saw
yes.
Yes.
Yes, book a call with me, because I can do that training also in English, but then it's a one-to-one.
Yes.
And then the progress goes a little bit more quicker than when you do it by yourself. So yeah, we have many possibilities.
I love that. Yeah. So to closure, is there one last tip or advice you would like to give to everyone tuning into this conversation?
Okay, follow your intuition.
Yes, yeah.
It never lies.
Yeah. I think that's such an important message, especially in this time and space. So thank you for sharing your light and sharing this conversation. And everyone tuning in, thank you for being here. Let us know in the comments below what sparked for you. And please follow, like, subscribe, whatever way aligns with you, because it really helps the show and all of these 88 amazing conversations to spread their teachings into the world. So for now, sending you much love and looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.